Fall asleep? Oh. How's it going?
Good.
Been busy.
Today, not really.
How did you decide to become a professional bodybuilder?
After I graduated from the academy and they cut you loose on the streets, one of the guys saw me on one of the calls, like, man, you a pretty big guy, where you work out at? I told him, man, I work out at the station where it's free. He said, you ought to come over to Metroflex, the gym I work at. I'm like, okay. So I go to Metroflex and Brian is there.
Well, my name is Brian Dobson. I'm the owner and operator of Metroflex Gym. We're here in Arlington, Texas.
Brian is the guy that got me into bodybuilding. A friend of mine brought me to this gym. Brian was insistent upon me bodybuilding, told me that I could do good in the sport. Finally told me that he'd give me a free membership, and I said, oh, what the heck.
Brian Dobson, I'm the owner of Metroflex Gym. Been here since 1987. I mean, we get new equipment here and there, but pretty much stays the same, man. You know, I mean, we believe in the old school ways. Our training methods here are hard. I mean, we get criticized a lot for that.
He trained in a dungeon type gym. In my terms, it would be labeled as a shithole. Rusty weights and very dusty and whatever. But that's where he trained because he loved to train.
Yeah, so that place is a trip. I mean, I was from California. We got the ocean breeze coming in through Golden Venice, and I wasn't accustomed to all the heat, you know, 100-some degrees in the gym. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. They do it. It's hot as hell in there.
As soon as he walked in, I knew who it was. He had the red sweatshirt on, and you could see the veins, like, you know, bulging through this thing, you know? And of course, I was used to being around champion bodybuilders, but I don't think I'd ever seen that yet.
Brian took me on his wing and taught me all the poses and stuff, and then he would go over, you know, like diet and stuff and tell me what I need to eat.
The thing that separated him, of course, is just his work ethic from the very start has been supreme. He was never one of them guys you had to push.
My first show, I went in, won first and overall, and I'm like, whoa, I can probably be pretty good at this. When I was in high school, the gym I worked out was like Metroflex. When I was in college, the gym I worked out at was like Metroflex. So I got accustomed to working out at a gym that had no AC, there was dirt on the floor, there was no carpet. And I kind of like fell in love with that type of gym. You know, you get used to a certain thing, you just don't want to change, because that's kind of like what's worked for you your whole life. And you fall in love with it, and that's what you want to do. And that's what Metroflex is. And that's what it's been for me all my life. Yeah, it's what I'm accustomed to doing, and it's what made me successful. So, like they say, if it ain't broke, then you know, you ain't got nothing to fix there.
I knew he could be Mr. Olympia one day. There's no man who trains harder anywhere. I truly believe that if Ronnie put his mind to it, he could set the all-time record in powerlifting, and not only be the greatest bodybuilder of all time, but the greatest powerlifter of all time also. I think Ronnie could be Mr. Olympia until he's 45, 50 years old if he wanted to be.
This is 2000, I'm still here. I've been here for almost 11, 12 years. been the happiest times of my life, and you know, I kind of like hope Brian's been kind of happy with me being here.
Yeah.
Me, Brian, is kind of like, you know, an angel to me because, you know, I've been working out now for about 25 years, and when I first walked in that door, Brian had told me I could be a world champ, and he stuck by his belief and his feeling toward me. It's kind of like we got a bond here, so I think we kind of like a family. I didn't do this thing all by myself. I had some help. And right here is my angel, Brian Dobson.
One of the stories that stands out to me goes all the way back to 1992, Helsinki, Finland. I believe that was Ronnie Coleman's first Mr. Olympia. He and I were one of the last at the baggage claim, and I thought, what's he doing here? Like, who's he here with? I didn't know that he was actually there to compete in the competition. And lo and behold, by the time the show was going on, he was backstage warming up. And he obviously was a work in progress. I believe he got dead last in that competition. When it comes to Ronnie Coleman, he was so far back in the pack in my economy of a great bodybuilder. You gotta remember, I came up behind Lee Haney and behind Dorian Yates and with Flex and with Kevin and with Nasser, and those were the guys that made the fabric of the Mr. Olympia. So every time I looked at someone to measure where I stood, it was never at Ronnie Coleman.
Ronnie, on a competitive level, he's just never thought about him going into competitions. You know, he was nowhere close. If I was in the first call out, he was probably like in the third or fourth, if that.
He was placing, you know, in the back of the pack a lot of the times.
I didn't even get a call out, you know. I didn't think I could be like with the top guys anyway. So I didn't even qualify for the Olympia in '93. So I went to the Olympia in '94 and placed 15, 16, somewhere in there. But at least they called me out and compared me to the other guys. So 1995 rolls around, and I went to the Olympia that year, and I think I placed like 11th, somewhere in there, 12th, somewhere in there. So, you know, I'm moving up in place, and I'm doing a little bit better, you know. In '96, I did pretty good in the Olympia. I ended up in like 7th place that year. So things are getting better and better every year. '97 rolls around, and that year at the Olympia, I got 9th, you know.
I started noticing, you know, this is the first year and the second year, same thing. Third year, same thing. So Ronnie would be on the road with Vicky Gates and just carrying his food. We're talking about you got to go from Spain to compete in Italy, and you know, so he's got this whole thing mapped out. He's taking trains, you know, we're flying and stuff. And I'm like, dude, why do you keep doing this? I felt like saying, why are you wasting your time? I was like, man, what are you doing? I mean, if I wouldn't even do this if I'm not winning. That's my approach, because I'm out there to win. And Ronnie looked at me and he says, this is because I love doing it. And man, I love bodybuilding. He said, man, I love bodybuilding. You know, when he said it like that, I was like, damn, yeah, you must really love it, you know?
Well, I can remember like it was yesterday. They finally let me in the Arnold Classic. The show before the Arnold was the Ironman, and I ended up in like 3rd place, I think. But the guy who won the show was Lee Priest. I'm like, man, how did he beat me? You know, Lee about this tall. I'm like, I don't know if this is a sport for me. So I'm at the Arnold Classic, and I remember going after the prejudge. I went back to my room. My girlfriend at the time was Vicky, a girl named Vicky Gates. She was competing in the show too. I'm like, Vicky, I think I'm done with this bodybuilding stuff. They let guys like Lee Priest beat me. I don't think this is for me. She's like, boy, shut up. You ain't gonna quit. And I thought about it. I'm like,